हमने लास्ट स्लाइड देखी, एन ऑफिसर इन द आर्म फोर्सेस is a leader of his troops who performs all the managerial functions and is responsible for the results of all his actions, omissions and decisions. ये थोड़ी टेक्निकल डेफिनेशन है, लेकिन आप ये समझें कि इसमें दो चीजें आई हुई हैं, लीडर ऑफ द ट्रूप्स एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज ऑफ हिज एक्शंस एंड नॉन एक्शंस एंड डिसीजंस। इस चीज को ध्यान में रखिएगा, थोड़ी देर के बाद आपको ये चीजें अपने आप इसकी समझ होगी। अब हम ये देखें कि वो ऑफिसर एक्चुअली एसएसबी की निगाह में क्या है। What is that officer in the eyes of the SSB? देखो, as far as the OLQs are concerned, so they are the terms of his selection. But what exactly is the officer? Okay, so we have to connect that officer's doing or personalities or actions with the organizational perspectives. We must know that what are the tasks he is going to perform, what are the terms, and what are the places of his postings or deployment. Young friends, whenever a person is giving any prescription to you, you must understand what is its significance. अगर कोई आपसे कहता है कि ये पॉजिटिव स्टोरी बनाओ, आप सवाल पूछिए कि क्यों पॉजिटिव स्टोरी बनाओ, पॉजिटिव स्टोरी का मतलब क्या होता है। ये क्वेश्चनिंग माइंड से चीजों को लीजिए। अगर आप किसी प्रिस्क्रिप्शन को उसके ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल सिग्निफिकेंस के साथ अगर अटैच करेंगे, तो आप बहुत अच्छी तरीके से उस प्रिस्क्रिप्शन को अपने बिहेवियर में आप दिखा सकेंगे, मैनिफेस्ट कर सकेंगे। जस्ट अ मिनट, व्हाई दिस डैम थिंग इज नॉट शेयरिंग? स्क्रीन शेयरिंग इज स्टॉप बाय द वे।
सर हमारे को आ रहा है सर।
आ रहा है अभी? ठीक है।
हाँ, ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल पर्सपेक्टिव, टास्क, टर्म्स, प्लेस, पोस्टिंग, डिप्लॉयमेंट सर।
ओके, नाउ ये
सर
आगे नहीं।
आगे सर आप इसको एक बार दोबारा से स्क्रीन शेयर कर दीजिए सर। एक बार
या,
हटा के वापस।
ओके
देन यू रीशेयर इट सर।
ओके। अभी आ गया वो।
सर इट्स ओके
ओके,
सर, वर्किंग।
नाउ जॉब प्रोफाइल ऑफ एन ऑफिसर। कल हमने आपसे एक सिचुएशन में मैंने कहा था कि आप अपने आप को एक सवाल पूछिए कि द सेम सिलेक्शन सिस्टम इज देयर फॉर एवरी टाइप ऑफ एंट्री, आर्मी, नेवी, एयरफोर्स, कोस्ट गार्ड। हाँ, व्हाट इज कॉमनैलिटी? कॉमन चीज क्या है? सारे फोर्सेस अलग अलग हैं, और विद इन द फोर्स अगेन देयर आर मल्टीपल ब्रांचेस। तो जैसे एयरफोर्स पे ही ले लीजिए, तो कोई एविएटर है, कोई नॉन एविएटर है, कोई टेक्निकल है, कोई नॉन टेक्निकल है। सो कॉमन चीज क्या है? तो इस चीज को समझने के लिए अब देखिए, हम कॉमनेस्ट ऑफ द कॉमन चीज, रिमेंबर दैट ऑल ऑफ यू विल बी ज्वाइनिंग एज ए कॉम्बेटेंट। एक टर्म होता है कॉम्बेटेंट, याद रखिएगा। आर्म फोर्सेस में चार तरीके के लोग होते हैं: ऑफिसर्स, मेन, जिनको आप जवान कह सकते हैं, सिविलियंस भी होते हैं, और नॉन कॉम्बेटेंट्स भी होते हैं। प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड। तो कॉम्बेटेंट्स भी होते हैं, नॉन कॉम्बेटेंट्स भी होते हैं। यू आर गोइंग टू ज्वाइन एज ए कॉम्बेटेंट, यानी आप, यू विल बी ट्रेन्ड फॉर कॉम्बैट। सो जितने भी कॉम्बेटेंट्स हैं, उनकी क्या जॉब प्रोफाइल है हम देखते हैं। कल हमने बोला था कि एन ऑफिसर परफॉर्म्स हिज ड्यूटी इन टू सिचुएशंस। One is the combat situation. In that, you are a fighter, you are a leader, and in the cantonment situation, wherein you are an administrator, you are a manager. So please, अब हम इसमें देखेंगे कि इन जॉब्स में क्या सिमिलरिटी है, क्या इनके फीचर्स हैं, ये जॉब्स क्या हैं, एंड व्हाट आर द क्वालिटीज विच आर एसोसिएटेड फिर हम देखेंगे कि कौन सा बंदा एसएसबी की निगाह में एम्प्लॉयबल है। ये आज का सेशन रहेगा। देखो, जो ऑपरेशनल टास्क हैं या कॉम्पिटेंट टाइप के जो टास्क हैं उनके क्या फीचर्स हैं। रिमेंबर, दे आर शॉर्ट टर्म, risky, time bound, heavily influenced by the leadership, demand certain output, and they need certain, okay, involvement. I mean, you cannot go with a half mind to the combat. अब मैं आपको एक छोटी सी बात ये कहना चाहता हूं, ध्यान रखिएगा इस चीज को कि अभी हमारे मेमोरीज में जितने वॉर्स हैं, लेट्स से प्रेजेंट वॉर ईरान वर्सेस अमेरिका प्लस इजराइल, कुछ दिन पहले वी हैड द अमेरिकन ट्रूप्स इन अफगानिस्तान, दे लेफ्ट इट। उसके कुछ दिन पहले हमने देखा कि इराक वर्सेस अमेरिका। छोड़ दीजिए इन सबों को, दीज आर नॉट द कॉम्बैट्स इन ट्रू सेंस। दिस इज समथिंग, आई मीन, इफ आई एम परमिटेड टू से दैट इट इज पॉलिटिकल हेजेमनी ऑफ अमेरिकन। ये वॉर्स नहीं है। वॉर्स क्या होते हैं? शॉर्ट टर्म होते हैं, जैसे 1971 वॉर, जैसे कारगिल वॉर, जैसे 1965 वॉर। हमेशा जो वॉर होते हैं फुल इंटेंसिटी वाले वॉर, जहां पर ग्राउंड वॉर होता है, अदरवाइज बाकी वॉर्स एक तरीके से पोस्चरिंग है। ओके, ये वॉर्स क्या होते हैं? वेल डिफाइंड। वेल डिफाइंड मीन्स व्हाट इज टू बी अचीव्ड एंड बाय व्हाट टाइम इट इज टू बी अचीव्ड इज क्लियरली लेड आउट। शॉर्ट टर्म के होते हैं, रिस्की होते हैं, टाइम बाउंड होते हैं। And now we are talking about the ground war. We are not talking of the war with the drones. Drone क्या है या एक मिसाइल क्या है? It is directly fired weapon. It doesn't engage enemy anyway. We are talking about the war in which the enemies, both the parties, they are engaged with each other. तो ऐसी सिचुएशन में क्या होता है कि द सिचुएशन चेंजेस फ्रॉम मिनट टू मिनट, आवर टू आवर। We need a human mind to assess the situation and give a response to the enemy. That is where a leader is required, not somebody who is a pseudo leader or even artificial leadership, or for that matter, technology. Technology cannot replace the human being. So that's what is heavily influenced by the leadership, and they demand certain visible output and they need your 100% involvement. And what I say combat is in relation to containing the threat, active war duty, active operational duty. But every time there is nothing like a war. War is, or the operational duties are coming seldom. They are interspersed sometimes and they are situational. Many a time you are not in the war, you are in the peace areas. That's what I call it, the cantonment situation, wherein you mean to say that we become suddenly inert gas like neon? No, the officer is equally active. And what does he perform here? So Adam and maintenance tasks that are at the unit level for the unit and the troops. ऐसे टास्क क्या होते हैं? May or may not be well defined always. Let us say your commanding officer may say that I want to improve the facilities in the JCO's mess. Now he leaves it to your understanding what actually he means by improvement in the facilities. मैं ही आपसे कहूं कि आप अपने घर के खाने को improve करो, तो what does it mean? Does it mean any particular thing? No. It is not well defined. It may be on any scale of time, long term, short term, medium term, immediate. मैं आपको एक सिचुएशन बताऊं, 1992 की बात है। I was very much in the system when in the Air Force, the girls batch has come, and much against our expectations. See, we didn't have before that any data. If we call 100 girls, how many of them will be reporting? Boys के साथ statistics available है. So accordingly, we, depending on our capacity to host them, उनको कितने बैग्स चाहिए, कितना उनको खाना चाहिए, कितना सब कुछ, हम स्टैटिस्टिक्स के हिसाब से भी प्री डिटरमाइन इट with plus minus 10% of, upper side or the lower side. But girls के मामले में we didn't have. And can you believe it? Around 600 girls, they, landed up. All of them, they were highly, highly motivated. और स्क्रीनिंग के बाद तो मेरा ख्याल है करीब करीब 400 गर्ल्स कैंडिडेट्स रह गए थे. अब सोचिए हाथ पैर सबके फूले हुए हैं. बट द वे द प्रेसिडेंट हैज हैंडल्ड द सिचुएशन, phenomenal. So what I mean to say, and we conducted it, with a great success, resounding, success, we have done it. So ऐसे भी situations आपके पास आएंगे, है ना? तो don't please feel obliged or don't start expecting too much as far as, oh, nice, at least the power has come. I think now all the, मेरे चेहरे से चमक गायब हो गई होगी. So at the unit level, we do it. There is no scale of time. It is risk-free. Remember that we will be every time taking enough of care, safety guards. We don't want a precious life to be lost or injured. Now, since they may be on a long-term basis or sometimes very long-term basis, leaders come and go. What is going to ensure continuity is the policies. Remember, इसलिए policies. Okay. Now comes a comparison. Operational duty, that means when you are fighting, when you are leading your troops in the situation, and when you are doing the managerial functions. इस चीज को हम थोड़ा सा just for the sake of comparison ये देख लेते हैं अगली टेबल में. ये देखिए. Operations are unstructured. Unstructured means there is no definite shape of operations because there is a second party. Enemies are involved. What will be enemy's response or initial, let us say, action? Enemy वो नहीं करेगा जो आप चाहते हैं. Today's war is the war of deception, friends. तो इसलिए operations are always unstructured. As far as the Adam and maintenance or the managerial jobs are concerned, they are structured or semi-structured. Their shape is definite. जब shape is definite मैं कह रहा हूं, let us say you have to approve the leave of your men. Men have got a certain, let us say 30 days of casual leave. You cannot give even 1 day of casual leave extra. हाँ, कब देना है, किस परिस्थिति में देना है, कितने लोगों को देना है, that you can, this play is there with the commander. But you cannot give more than 30 days of casual leave to any person at a time. So that's what I mean, structured or semi-structured. Wars or the operations, they are short-term, whereas short, medium, long-term, anything. Risky. Now remember one thing, that I've used the word court risk. Court risk means we voluntarily come forward and embrace risk at a time. आपको याद है वो पिक्चर 21, Battle of Basantar, you remember? The commanding officer is asking what is the status of the mine clearance. जवाब मिलता है कि सर अभी हमें सिग्नल नहीं मिला है. कहता है नो, टाइम इज नॉट देयर, वी विल गो थ्रू माइंस. अगर आपने पिक्चर देखी होगी तो याद कीजिए, नहीं देखी होगी तो दोबारा देख करके और देख करके इस पर ध्यान दीजिएगा. वी टेक द रिस्क. So this is what is called as courting the risk. And in the peace situations, in the cantonment situation, so things will be risk-free. We will avoid risk. We will take all the safety precautions. Wars are leadership-centric. There is a human mind that interprets the situation. Whereas in the cantonment situation, it is policy-centric. Now, we will concentrate on war. Wars are difficult, challenging, and they are the test of your will, which is reflected through your reactions. What is that will? Will to survive, will to achieve, and will to lead. Will to achieve, ये दिल मांगे मोर, ये आपने किसी आईएएस के मुंह से सुना या किसी इंडस्ट्रियल उसके आदमी के मुंह से सुना है, ओनली अ वॉरियर कैन से अ दिल मांगे मोर. ओके. As far as difficulty or challenges are concerned, they may not be there. And what the cantonment situation or the peace areas, they bring out your skills of planning, growth, futuristic vision, and to apply your wisdom, learned knowledge, skills, and values. Now, एक बात यहां पर अब मैं बताऊंगा. दिस इज द जॉब प्रोफाइल ऑफ एवरी ऑफिसर, ऑल द ऑफिसर्स, राइट फ्रॉम अ लेफ्टिनेंट टू चीफ ऑफ द आर्मी स्टाफ, आर्मी, नेवी, एयरफोर्स. लेकिन सिलेक्शन बोर्ड की निगाह में, कल जब मैं व्हेन आई विल बी हैविंग द सेशन विद द लिमिटेड ऑडियंस जो कमिट करते हैं इस चीज, फिर मैं बताऊंगा कि there is a difference in the job profile of a junior officer and a senior officer. Right now, it will be sufficient to say that in the eyes of selection boards, you are that junior officer who is leading the troops in the combat situation. Chief of the army staff or the army commanders, they don't directly show up in the battlefield. Junior officer does. So what way a junior officer's profile is different from the senior officer's profile, that we will be touching tomorrow when we'll start the psychological tests. Right now, remember that all officers, they perform these three functions: combat, Adam, maintenance. Okay? Now, अब हम आते हैं कि what are the qualities which are needed. Now, I'm talking about the qualities as against the OLQs. आपको याद होगा कल हमने कहा था कि OLQs are not those, they are not the qualities, they are basically behaviors. Like a house has got its basic components as what? As bricks, cement, mortar, something like this. So similarly, जो OLQs हैं जिस conventional sense में, they are the behaviors. Generally, they are the behaviors. They are not the qualities. अब क्या वो qualities हैं which will make you an efficient officer in the combat situation and in the peace area? They are the ultimate result of this session is higher cognitive factors. Cognitive means intellectual factors. वो कौन से factors हैं? इस ख्याल को हम डेवलप करेंगे. द एंड रिजल्ट ऑफ द सेशन विल बी हायर कॉग्निटिव फंक्शंस. चलिए, एफिशिएंसी फैक्टर in the operational Adam and maintenance or the social situations, functions and the associated qualities. आप क्या करते हैं और उसमें क्या क्वालिटीज इन्वॉल्व होते हैं. तो द फर्स्ट फंक्शन इज द कॉम्बैट फंक्शन, राइट? Qualities associated with operational functions that you see. First thing is, friends, you go to the war with a proper planning and strategy. This is what? Making war plans or the strategies. To make the war plan or a strategy, you need two qualities, that is imagination and your resourcefulness. Remember, with the same input and same objectives, two commanders might land up in charting out different strategies. So, because imagination is rather individual factor. Number two, sustenance in the battlefield. Young friends, remember one thing, that the war, when it is discussed among the commanders, when it is discussed on the drawing board, it appears very, very fine. It appears extremely, lovely. Everything is going in your favor. But the moment the first bullet is fired, then you see the reaction of the troops and even your own reactions. Remember, the first few minutes when the actual exchange of bullets start, they are very, very critical. If you are sustaining yourself, then what are the qualities needed? What are the qualities which will back up your standing in the battlefield is the clarity of the objectives. And clarity means you have to be absolutely critical as far as your vision and perception is concerned. Motivation, high level of energy, physical and moral courage. Moral courage is much more important. Moral courage is the quality which will give you the ability or willingness to suffer for the cause. Okay. Otherwise, there is a general tendency to go for ease, to avoid difficulties, I told you when we were comparing that in the combat situation, we court risk, we come forward, we embrace risk. Okay. Now comes observation and analysis of enemies' strength and strategy, apprise the superiors of the situation and charting out a response. Remember, friends, you go to the war with certain input. This input may be a hoax. Remember, the war is that of a deception today. So enemy could be giving you, like yesterday we had seen the example of how did we dodge the Pakistan Navy. They were trailing our aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant. How we dodged them. So enemy tries to dodge you, you try to dodge the enemy. But whatever is happening on the ground, perceptual skills, you have to perceive that. Remember, this is the biggest reason why we give you a picture to see and conclude, because your perceptual skills will be the reflection of you, those qualities which you'll be bringing out in the combat situation. Okay. Reasoning, logic. Okay. Then in the combat situation, you have to take many a time because the situation is fluid, dynamic. So you will be taking spot decisions, tactical moves. You will review whether your pre-charted strategy is working out or not. Is it going as per your expectations and planning? If not, then you have to alter that. Okay. If needed, then you have to on the spot, depending on what is the strength and the behavior of the enemy, what is the firepower of the enemy, then you will be imagining some solution then and there. So for that, again, you require imagination, application of learned military knowledge and the skills. So friends, whatever you are seeing here in the right side, these are the very, very essential, qualities. And to the left hand side, it is the behavior that you have to display in the combat situation. Are you getting my point? Okay. These are the things which you, okay, these are the, the behaviors in the combat situation, but you go to the combat. Oh, just a minute. I think this is repetition of the slide. Certain qualities, they are non-negotiable. They are the qualities of your own personality. What is that? Very high achievement motivation. There are some people who are happy with the mean achievements, the smaller achievements. And there are some officers, some people who they want to achieve something very, very high. Remember the fourth factor, dynamic factor. The qualities of determination, courage, and stamina. The qualities of investing continuous labor in pursuit of your goal. That will come only when you have got high achievement motivation. Next quality, sense of responsibility. I don't want to elaborate anything on this. Team spirit. You have to operate in a team, which is the social factor, and willingness to win. Dear young friends, remember that in the war, you don't go for a silver medal. Okay. In the war, After the war, there is only two status, only one status, rather, not two. I mean, two parties are there, only one status. That is, there is something either winner or vanquished. You don't go to the war, to be satisfied. जैसे वो कौन सी आमिर खान की पिक्चर थी, वो उसमें तारे जमीन पर सितारे जमीन पर, in that those challenged people, those intellectually challenged people, they are very happy कि हम सेकंड आए, एक से बढ़ करके दो होता है, नंबर टू इज ग्रेटर देन नंबर वन. ये movies में, fictions में, then it is very, very noble. But in the war, you cannot return with this kind of a thing that, well, you came second. Sorry. So these are the qualities, friends, for which you'll be tested. Just for the operational functions. And now comes the qualities and the behaviors and the qualities associated with the functions that you will do in the peace area. These things are non-trainable, by the way. There are certain, like the leadership quality is very, very trainable factor. The skills of the leadership is trainable, but high achievement, motivation, SOR, team spirit, and willingness to win, these are the qualities, friends. Sorry. These come to your personality through long-term schooling, the value system, the parentage, the environment. They don't come overnight. They cannot be trained through a formal scheme. They come through our, upbringing, early environment, values, beliefs, schooling. Now comes, friends, Adam and maintenance functions. Let us see what do you do during the Adam and, this situation, and then what are the qualities needed. They are the in-house functions, friends. Whereas the combat is in relation with the enemy. They are for routine administration, management of resources, training and growth. Maintenance of morale. Understand, friends, that a well-administered army is always having a better or high morale. What is the purpose of a good administration? The good administration in terms of the armed forces is aimed towards achieving high level of operational preparedness. We don't just cool our heels and enjoy the life while we are in the non-combat situation. Remember, there is a very, very famous proverb which every Fauji knows, officer or Jawan, Army, Navy, Air Force. It is told, the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. I quote, the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. Now you understand what exactly it means. Okay. So now what are the qualities? First of all, remember, friends, that you have to be a well-informed person and a knowledgeable person. You have to have high level of situational awareness, general knowledge, knowledge of your field. Knowledge is the first thing that empowers you. Okay. In the schools and colleges also, the guys and the girls who are better as far as the knowledge is, they are the good students, intelligent students. In the eyes of the professors and their own classmates, they are respected well. Okay. Anybody who feels that उसके पास अच्छी मोटरसाइकिल है, बढ़िया बाप की दी हुई कार है, and you can flaunt anything and still you can earn the impressions. ये बड़ा temporary चीजें होती हैं. The permanent impression is cast by your knowledge, your intelligence. Then comes high level of communication skill. Let me tell you, friends, that in the war, everything is in the standard and cryptic way. But during the peacetime, you have to be the part of the discussion, brainstorming groups. You will receive the orders and the situations. You will pass it on to the people. You will take the feedback from your subordinates. And then You'll be again briefing your seniors. It will be sometimes written, sometimes spoken. You can ill afford to have a poor communication skill. Many people, let me tell you, the times that have groomed you, especially this science students, I tell you, it's a very, very pitiable situation. I've been the headmaster of two Sainik schools, and I have many a time snubbed my own teachers, civilian teachers. They say, like mathematics teachers, language is not important. Important is whatever you are saying. This is absolute stupidity. Language is very, very important. Even when you are dealing with the abstract subject like physics and mathematics, language is of great importance. Very unfortunately, I would say. और वॉर में तो कबाड़ा हो जाएगा. कैन आई गिव जस्ट वन एग्जाम्पल? जैसे वॉर में वन person, one battle commander, he has given the message, the radio message to the field headquarters, which reads like this: send reinforcements, we are advancing. अब 3-4 वर्ड्स का कम्युनिकेशन हो गया. Send reinforcements, we are advancing. अब हेडक्वार्टर्स में बंदे ने क्या सुना पता नहीं. शायद ही मस्ट हैव बीन फ्रॉम अ वेरी वेरी हार्डकोर हिंदी बेल्ट, जहां अंग्रेजी टैबू मानी जाती है ना. हमारे एक नेताजी थे यूपी में, कहते थे मेरी चले तो मैं अंग्रेजी को आग लगा दूं. मेरे ही सर्टिफिकेट आपने देखे हैं शुद्ध हिंदी में, इवन दी न्यूमरल्स वर रिटन अब वो कोई पढ़ता ही नहीं. ये तो बात अलग है कि हमारी चल गई हमारे जमाने. So send reinforcements, we are advancing was converted or heard like this for the commander जो उसने मैसेज नोट करके रखा. Send refreshments, we are dancing. अब सोचो, send reinforcements, we are advancing has been converted to send refreshments, we are dancing. अब सोचो वहां पर जो हेडक्वार्टर्स में जो कमांडर बैठा हुआ वो अपना सिर अच्छी तरीके से ढूंढ रहा होगा कि ये कौन से जोकर्स को मैंने लगा दिया. हमने इनको बैटल में भेजा एंड दीज स्टूपिड्स दे आर डांसिंग, दे आर मेरी मेकिंग, और ऊपर से हमको कह रहे हैं कि सेंड रिफ्रेशमेंट्स आल्सो. एनीवे, jokes apart, communication has got its own value. Imagination, anticipation, that is the vision and resourcefulness. Whenever you are in the combat area से अलग situation में, combat में क्या है? Reaction, if you remember. But in the non-combat situation, it is the vision. Okay. Resourcefulness, कहां से resources आएंगे, है ना? Weapons कहां से मिलेंगे? Training कहां से आएगी, है ना? Strategy क्या होनी चाहिए? So for that, you require imagination and vision. टीम स्पिरिट, एक बात मैं आपको कॉशन कर देना चाहता हूं कि बहुत सारे लोग सोचते ये हैं कि लीडरशिप इज रिक्वायर्ड ओनली इन द कॉम्बैट सिचुएशन. देखो, एक चीज ध्यान में रखना चाहिए, स्पेशली दोज पीपल हु आर द एस्पिरेंट्स ऑफ द ऑफिसर्स कार्डर. वॉर की सिचुएशन में ऑफिसर्स एंड मेन, दे आर वेरी वेरी क्लोजली in the close company of each other. Enemy, weather, conditions affect everybody alike. सभी के लिए बराबर का खतरा है. ओके, सभी के लिए सिचुएशंस बराबर. ओके, लेकिन पीस की सिचुएशन, things are different. Things are different in the sense that officers have got bigger space in their offices and at homes. Your privileges are visibly different from those of men. At that time, friends, what is most needed is the team spirit. You will not be a sahab. Many times this sahabi goes into the heads of the people. Please understand. Okay. So still you have to show that you are approachable. This is what I have written here, approachable, leader versus Sahab. Commitment to organizational goals. Many a time, friends, you'll be having some time, for your refreshments, your enjoyment. Okay, that is an entertainment, which is essential also. But let us not lose the sight of organizational goals. What actually is the purpose of your being posted to the peace areas? Okay. Further, ability to take quick decisions. I've given you an example in which almost 400 girls, they were to be tested within the same schedule. And yes, it was possible. Problem solving skills, empathy, awareness about the social norms and values. Friends, remember, this is what is regimentation. You will not be losing the sight of that your troops are drawn from certain areas, certain castes, certain religions. Okay. Each regiment has got its own, uh, shall we say, the traditions, the ethnic group, regional groups, beliefs. You have to be, as an officer, let me tell you, if you are a Sikh yourself, doesn't mean that you'll be given only the Sikh. If you're Rajput yourself, does not mean that you will be commanding only the Rajputs. No. You may be a Rajput, you may be asked to command, let us say, Madras Regiment, for that matter, let us say, Mahar Regiment, or Naga for that matter, Sikh Light Infantry for that matter. Officers are supposed to be cosmopolitan. Okay. Personal integrity. Okay, it's a quality which is highly valued. Remember, friends, nowadays, occasionally, sprinkle of news comes here and there that this defense officer has compromised something. Because wherever human beings are there, the lower and higher emotions will be there for sure. But this is just an exception. Most of the officers, they are, I would say, and with a great conviction, that they are people of values, very, very high level of integrity. Okay, which is expected of every person. Incidentally, integrity is what? It is the opposite of being compromised for the sake of personal gains. Okay. Now, friends, these are the qualities which the selection boards are concerned with. The functions you have seen which you perform, very, very broad functions in the combat situation and the broad functions which you do in the peace areas or in the cantonment situation. Now comes who is employable. Criteria is who is employable. Okay. First factor is the efficiency factor and second factor is happiness factor. Efficiency में हमने देखा था कि at the end of the session we'll be coming to the qualities of higher cognitive functions. अभी उसको हम देखते हैं, but समझिए, you have to be an efficient person. You have to be trusted for being an efficient person in the future for your roles. And the second thing is, especially in our country, friends, the troops are positioned in the far-flung areas. Geographically, you will be hundreds and thousands of kilometers away from your own people. You will be missing your social fabric and the situations and the various occasions. You will be placed in the most challenging situations. Temperature-wise, terrain-wise. And obviously, you have to perform only the tough type of tasks. Remember that your happiness and remaining charmed and motivated towards the job of the armed forces is very, very essential. If you are gloomy, sulky, disappointed, I'm afraid you will not be in a position to deliver. So the armed forces, especially the selection boards, are concerned with those qualities in your personality which will keep you happy, motivated. We'll see those qualities. We have seen so far only the efficiency factor. Okay. Now comes where this efficiency and the happiness gets the qualities which make you efficient and happy. Where these qualities they come from. So remember, these qualities they come through a long-term grooming, socialization, social values, early life experiences. They don't come overnight. Okay. I would say your schooling plays or your education plays a very, very great importance. एक second के लिए, just give me 1 minute of time. There has been an education psychologist who has, from the educational angle, who has studied your development or evolution of personality. So the person says that education develops three things in you. One is your intellect. We call it the cognition. Cognitive factor, knowledge, opinion, information, all the thinking operations and thinking tools, concepts, conclusions, reasoning. These things they develop with the education as we educate ourselves from nursery to even our post graduation, or these things they keep on coming to your personality. The second thing is that affective. Remember, it is not effective, it is affective. Affection is the word. We get bonded with the society, with the family members through emotions. Emotions, sometimes they are lower emotions, sometimes they are higher emotions. The survival instinct, jealousy, and such type of emotions, they are the lower emotions. But connectivity with the society and all these things, that is the higher emotions. So we develop the emotions also as we evolve in our knowledge, information. That means the cognitive factors we develop, we develop, in our emotional aspect. And the next part is the psychomotor part, that is the action part. You remember, in the education, we learned some games, we learned, SUPW. Through SUPW, we learned lot many skills. Okay. Projects, arts, crafts, vagara. These are just to increase your, the dexterity in action. But now here, we are more concerned with, as far as the emotions are concerned and actions is concerned, let us keep a little aside. Concerned is the cognitive factor. The guy who has given us this concept, his name was Benjamin Bloom, and Bloom says, as far as the cognitive functions are concerned, there are 6 intellectual functions. अब आप देखिएगा, ध्यान दीजिए. These 6 intellectual functions, they can be clubbed into 2, the lower functions and the higher functions. These 6 functions are memory or remembering, understanding, application, analysis, evaluation, and creativity. If we go from lower to higher, the lower function, that means memory, understanding is an application. They are common to officers and men. I would say that whatever men are supposed to be doing, they can do it with these functions. That is, memory, they have to remember something, they have to understand, they have to apply when the situation needs. But since officers, they have to plan, they have to give solutions, they have to be resourceful, they have to analyze the things. An officer cannot perform all these functions only with the lower intellectual or cognitive factors. The person has to have higher cognitive functions for sure, which are analysis, evaluation, and creativity. Young friends, we have tested you for your lower intellectual functions through the written tests. And yes, there will be certain questions during your interview session in which you will be showing or proving the person that, well, you remember something, you understood something, and you are in a position to apply. But the main concern of the selection boards will be your higher functions, analysis, evaluation, and creativity. Remember the TAT, thematic or perception test. It is told to be the test of your imagination, creativity. Your command task is how you evaluate and how you create the solution. Your group planning exercise, analysis and evaluation is the first step, which are the tasks, 4, 5 tasks, which should be given the priority and which should be relegated to secondary or tertiary priorities. So remember that the various systems, various techniques in the SSBs, they'll be primarily showing the concern towards your higher cognitive or intellectual functions that are analysis, evaluation, and creativity. Memory cannot substitute your creativity. So those people who tell you to memorize some stories, okay, definitely they're not doing justice to your prospects. Memory helps you in other exams, IAS का एग्जाम, PCS का एग्जाम, UPSC का कोई और एग्जाम. Memory वहां पर आपको हेल्प करती है because that is based on your academic and subject knowledge. So anybody who tells you that remember this thing and reproduce this thing is, I'm sorry, the person has not understood the system himself. Okay. So the criteria of employability is efficiency. You have to be rich as far as the analysis, evaluation, and creativity is concerned, and you should be happy. We will see the concept of analysis, evaluation, and creativity with a small video of 20 seconds, which is silent. I'll play it. Please watch it very, very critically. Don't miss even a second. Watch it. Your attention to just 21 seconds of this silent video involving 4 donkeys. The concept straight away will hit your mind. It will cut very deep eyes in your mind. Let us see. Shall we start? Okay, watch it now. The muscular function versus mental function. Planning, resourcefulness. This is the leadership function. Watch it again now. And let me tell you, the third guy who has got the solution, this was not the solution for himself, but it was for the last donkey who is a pregnant female. She cannot jump. So considering himself as the leader, responsible person, see these behaviors and is creating a solution after analyzing it. Got it? Okay. So what is the moral of the story? It is not the muscular power. It is the power of your intellect, higher cognitive functions which are a must in an officer's personality. Shall we proceed? Now comes the next factor. Arey bhai, aage badh. Yes. The functional profile of an officer is driven by the strength or superiority of his mind. This implies that the officer has to have superior cognitive functions and tools. You have to prove it through your creativity, through the power of analysis and evaluation. Okay, now comes what exactly will be the value of these things, higher cognitive functions. They bring you, they fetch you acceptability, respect, trust, and faith of your troops. A person who is ignorant, a person who is shallow as far as the intellectual functions are concerned, I'm afraid is not respected by his troop and his officers. Okay. Now comes the next one. Happiness, you remember. What did we understand about the employability factors? The person who is happy. Now here you need to be given a little bit of knowledge, but once it goes to your mind, it takes a seat in your mind, then you will not be confusing yourself. Who is a happy person? So here comes anybody, I don't know how many of you are, anybody who has studied management, by the way. Management, any BB, MBA, anybody? You studied?
Yes, sir. Me, Vedansh Soni. I have done MBA.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Actually, I'm looking for such people because you people are support. Okay. Otherwise, people say that ye Buddha jo hai, is talking through his head. Good,
I'm
Vedansh.
very thoroughly listening to you since yesterday.
Achha, very nice, very nice. No, you will be supporting me. But I'm, backing on you as far as the your support is concerned. Now, you must have, in the leadership chapter, Vedansh, you must have read something like Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes, sir.
Abraham Maslow was a person, actually, मैं आपको बताऊं क्या था कि what makes a person motivated towards achieving a goal. Various people, they tried to give various explanations, sociological, philosophical, psychological. So people say that there are certain needs in you, and the simplest of the need theory is given by Abraham Maslow, in which he says that there is something called the physical needs, then security needs, then social or belongingness needs, okay, then something more, and then self-actualization. Okay. It was very, very simplest of the explanations. I have some need, I look for need satisfaction. Need and need satisfaction. Now, the theory of needs assumes that only a happy person performs. Okay. And happy is a person whose needs are satisfied. So what are the needs one should look for? Now, the theory of needs, which is absorbed in our system, adopted in our system, is given by the same person who has given us the concept of the thematic perception test, TAT. The guy who has given us, the professor who has given us the concept of TAT has studied the human needs very, very thoroughly. Okay. बताते हैं. Murray says that every human being, we are not talking about the physical needs. Physical needs are very, very temporary. Okay. And they are keeping you satisfied only for a few hours. You are hungry, you take a lot of food, satisfying food, बड़े आराम से 5-6 घंटे आपके चल जाएंगे. You are tired, you take a nap, definitely. Okay. Physical needs are very, very temporary. What is important for us is the long-term needs. What as a pattern appear in your need? They are highly, means high psychological, socio-psychological, cultural matters which ultimately become our need. Now, friend, Murray has identified as many as 26 socio-cultural psychological needs. How many? 26. We are not concerned with the explanation. I'm only giving the basic theory in a very, very broad way. 26 psychological needs are there. These needs, he has clubbed them depending on their contrast and the similarities in 6 groups. How many groups? 6 groups. And he has, now his theory is that every one of the human beings has got these 26 needs, but some needs are strong, dominant, and they form a need cluster. His further studies, they have led to identification of certain needs which will keep somebody happy in certain profession. Let's say if you are happy as a professor, what are your needs? If you are happy as a lawyer, then what are your needs? If you are happy as a politician, then what are the needs? In fact, if I were to summarize the personality in terms of need theory, is that people have got certain patterns of needs and they have got certain ways to satisfy those needs. This makes their personality. It is one of the theories of personality. However, with this background, let me just confine myself to the need theory, which is adopted in the selection system. Now, friends, remember, a military officer is supposed to be having three strong needs, dominant needs. Who is going to be a good military officer? A military officer is the one who has got these three strong needs. Why? Because the organizational culture and the job content is going to satisfy those needs. So that is why he'll be the happiest one. If there is a mismatch between the needs and the need satisfaction, definitely the person will be in a state of conflict, will never be happy. So what are those needs? These needs are power, power, affiliation, and achievement. A military officer, a prospective candidate, I'll explain how. Power. Power need means what? Your desire to command and control. Now remember, your default position in the organization will be that of a leader. You will be commanding the people. Commanding and controlling, your power need will be satisfied. Remember, there's a class monitor, go back the memories of your earliest days. So there is a guy or a girl, who tells volunteers, ma'am, I'll mind the class. Huh? And somebody who is given the role, ये बच्चा नहीं सुन रहा है मेरी, वो तो सुनता ही नहीं मेरी. People are not comfortable. And generally you will find who is happy in the role of a class monitor or minding the class is वो class का कुछ जैसा bully दबंग type से है, who every time wants to command and control others. है कि नहीं? So the guy is perhaps having more need of power. There are people who will say, na, like, oh, nothing should move without my permission. Huh? कितने लोग हैं मेरी अपनी क्लास में 5 मिनट लेट हो गया एक श्रीवास्तव उसने he came like a ton of bricks. Why? There's a need of military officer that it is my class, I should be in total commanding position. So the organization gives you the chances to command and control people, thus your power need will be satisfied. Now comes affiliation. What is the meaning of affiliation? Affiliation is looking for bonding with others, seeking friendship, social roles, adjustment, integration, care, share, tolerance, and empathy. Friends, remember that no man is one man army. Let us say, if there is a professor, यूनिवर्सिटी का प्रोफेसर है, अपने लेसन्स अपनी लैब में गया, अपने लेसन्स डिलीवर किए, 2-4 उसके पास रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स आए, एग्जाम का पेपर सेट किया, ओके, खुश है. उसके जॉब कंटेंट में देयर इज नो इन्वॉल्वमेंट ऑफ एनी अदर पर्सन, हिज ओन एफिशिएंसी, his own motivation, that will keep him go. Lekin in the armed forces, you start operating first in a unit. Beyond unit, you don't have any identity. You have to be there with the people, your troops, your fellow beings. आप देखेंगे एनडीए के जो बच्चे हैं, those officers who are passing out, दो एनडीए के एक्स एनडीए ऑफिसर्स पहले तो मिलेंगे, सर एनडीए which squadron, which year? So much of bonding. So please understand that if you are having high affiliation need, that means you want to be bonded with the people. Armed forces are the place for you because you will never be alone. Okay. You will be having enough of people around you to befriend, to feel associated. But if it is the other way around, if you are a loner, if you feel the presence of other people is disturbing for your own thoughts and pursuit, if you are living in your own world, I'm sorry, armed forces are not for you. Next thing is the achievement need. If I'm allowed to quote something, बहुत simple words में मैंने बोला था, some people they happy with just 60% of the marks, other person is not happy even with 95% of the marks. Why? Because the person with 95% of marks is having the higher achievement motivation. Remember here, with the higher achievement motivation, you will be investing more labor. You'll work harder and hardest. You will be achieving something which is difficult. Armed forces will be giving you very, very tough jobs, either the operational jobs or in the non-operational situation. So you have to show your dynamism and hard work, fighting the odds, consistency of efforts and conviction. You will be getting the chance to satisfy your achievement needs. So the organization will be giving you the chances to lead, the chances to feel affiliated, chances to work hard, dynamism, conviction. Provided you have got these needs. If you don't have the power, need, and if I ask you to lead the troops, you will be very, very miserable, let me tell you. So the selection boards are primarily concerned with your needs. What are these? And let me tell you, since every technique is not having these terms to think, that is why these people will be taking a leadership quality, factor 3, social influence, factor 2, social adjustment. In fact, power, affiliation, and achievement needs are the raw psychological needs. And they have been given a place in the OLQ, so-called OLQ list. What is that? As power is third factor, affiliation is the second factor, and achievement is the fourth factor. Intellectual factor is your higher cognitive functions. So, friends, these are the cellular structure of your psychological makeup, which will make you efficient person. Are you getting my point? You must focus on these qualities. These are the qualities. Dekho, if there is a mismatch between what you need and what the organization gives you, you cannot make a diabetic person happy by offering him multiple sweets. It will be harmful to him. There has to be harmony in the needs and what the person is getting. So, intellectual factor, social factor, leadership factor, and dynamic factor, and the qualities associated with these factors I'm talking about, like problem-solving behavior, like imagination, like analysis, like evaluation, like creativity. Okay, these are the units, these are the cellular structure of your personality. If at all there is any harmony in the OLQs, and my thing is this, but those OLQs are for, again, I'll say, these are for the assessors and not for the candidates. For you, it is this. Okay. Now let's proceed further. How the system, therefore, is going to test you. Therefore, friends, here we follow the approach that is normally followed in the medical sciences. Medical sciences की दो streams हैं. किसी भी डॉक्टर से पूछिए, कहता है कि there are two ways through which he studies the life. What is that? One is the anatomy, the second is the physiology. Anatomy and physiology. The same way the selection boards, they will be testing you for what you are and how you function, how your qualities they manifest. देखो, what you are, आप क्या हैं? क्या है means what are your psychological ingredients in terms of intelligence, in terms of needs, in terms of the forces of your motivation. Okay. And second factor is how you appear to the world. That means interactive technique. Now, there are two techniques, therefore, interactive and non-interactive that you see here. Non-interactive technique is the psychological technique in which your psychological makeup, psychological constituents of your personality, especially the higher cognitive functions, are going to be examined. In this test, you are not going to interact with any person. You are there, the stimulus is projected and controlled by the psychologist. You write, you don't interact with anybody who is around you or even with the psychologist. But how you appear to the world, how your qualities, they show up to the world. So for that, you have to be put up in some social situation. Okay. Group testing and personal interview, our concern is the psychological technique. And psychological technique is basically your intellectual factor and your needs. Here, I would like to sum up that what is the seat of your needs? The seat of your needs is your unconscious mind. Unconscious mind is like, you can see, the mind is like an iceberg wherein 90% and more is that remains hidden, submerged. This is the unconscious mind wherein we have got our needs and multiple things seated here. The unconscious forces are those which energize and initiate our behavior. Subconscious mind is that thin layer which is common between the conscious and the unconscious, and it contains the forces that are regulating your behavior, and conscious is the seen part of it. This I'm going to explain further in detail